This video will help you in filling out your food log, which is on page 15 or the back cover of your packet. So as we've gone through this nutrition unit and talked a lot about different nutrients and things that are important in the diet, it's time to take a look at your own diet. So for this assignment, your requirement is to complete this food log for a full day of everything that you eat and drink for that one day. If you would like to add in the information for 2 or 3 days, you'll definitely get better information, and you can go ahead and do that on an extra blank piece of paper. But for the required assignment, you at least need 1 full day of everything that you eat and drink. So to start out, this is what that page 15 or the back cover of your packet looks like. And for the food log, you really just need to tell me the food or drink, the amount as to the best of your knowledge, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and then the meal. And this might seem strange to have to write this down, but once we do enter all of this information from your food log into what's called Super Tracker, it's going to help you get a really good analysis of the different vitamins and minerals and other nutrients that are in or not in your diet. It is going to ask you for this information in this order, including the meal that you ate it for. So for example, let's say that I had oatmeal for breakfast. That would be a really general amount of information. It would really be better if I added very specifically that I had apples and cinnamon and I can't spell today. And then it's going to ask for an amount. Now I had a packet. Some of you might eat oatmeal in a different way, like maybe you use a 1/4 cup from a jar or a canister of oatmeal, and you would write 1/2 cup or something like that. So I'm going to write 1 packet, and then I'm just going to say B for breakfast. If you want to, you can fully write it out as well. Now I had water in my oatmeal, so I'm going to say water, and I'm going to say a 1/4 cup. And again, I'm going to say breakfast. Some people might have milk in their oatmeal, and in that case, you would not only say milk, but what type of milk. So for example, maybe I had milk, but I'm going to say that I had skim milk. If I chew gum, I'm going to say what kind of gum I had. And I'm going to say 1 stick. And if it really doesn't fit into a meal, that's where you can say snack. If I had a turkey sandwich, I can use just this line here to detail everything that was in my sandwich, or I can use a separate line on the food log for every single part of my sandwich. That really doesn't matter to me. It's however you want to organize that would be fine. So maybe I say sliced turkey, 2 pieces of whole wheat bread, and mustard. And then I could say 1 sandwich for lunch. So also make sure that if you take any kind of vitamin or supplement that you're adding that onto your list. If you have something like a smoothie, for example, make sure that you try to list everything in the smoothie, kind of like we did with the turkey sandwich. If you have a dinner that maybe you're not really sure of everything that was in it, ask whoever made it if they could give you a general idea of what they put in it. For example, lasagna, was it a spinach and cheese lasagna versus a meat lasagna, that type of thing. And if you're not sure, I always just say, just write down what you know. And if you're not sure of how to state the amount of something, a really good resource for you would be to look back to slide 12 in the blend space, which looks like this. And this is just, I think it's a really nice visual to see a normal everyday object, or in comparison to the size of your hand, that this would be a way to kind of help you see an equivalent to a serving size. So for example, I think we all know what the size of a deck of cards would look like. About the center of your hand would be about 3 ounces of meat. So if you had a piece of chicken that was maybe twice that size, that would be 2 servings, or about 6 ounces. So the expectation is not for you to go home and measure and weigh every single thing you eat, but to get a general idea. Using this chart would be really helpful, and it's going to give you a more accurate picture of what you're adding into that program once we get to that point later in the unit. And then I would definitely point out things like cooking oil. You might not realize or know what type of cooking oil is being used at home. This would be a good time to ask. Keep in mind things like butter or peanut butter do count, and looking at about the size of your thumb would be considered an ounce. So that would be, a way that you could measure those types of things. And keep in mind you might have 2 ounces of peanut butter on your sandwich, perhaps 3, depending on how you make it. So if you have any questions, obviously you can ask at home, but then also when you get back to school, you can ask. So just write down the best description you can, and we will help you to make that work once you start adding it into the program online.